Be in the know with unlimited access to IBJ and Inside Indiana Business. Our in-depth coverage of all things business means you'll always be completely in the know. Subscribe for just $1 a week. Get started now at ibj.com/trial offer.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. I'm Alex Brown. Brownsburg is considering tax incentives for an unnamed life sciences company that plans to invest an estimated $435 million in a new facility. The company would relocate 1,776 jobs and add 300 jobs to the town in coming years. The development, referred to as Project Falcon in public documents, would be located in the Ronald Reagan Logistics Center and include administrative office, lab, and production facility space. Already, the Brownsburg Economic Development Commission has given initial approval for the town to issue more than $80 million in TIF bonds to support the project. The Brownsburg Town Council on Thursday will consider the bonds and a request for a personal property tax abatement for the unnamed company. Texas-based Caterpillar said today that Indiana will be among the first states to receive funding through its 5-year, $100 million workforce pledge. The construction and mining equipment manufacturer is committing up to $5 million for training and upskilling efforts throughout the state, with the goal of growing interest in advanced manufacturing careers. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission nominating committee's members met in executive session Monday and reviewed 47 applications for 3 open seats on the 5-member commission. After public interviews with 22 candidates next week, the committee will forward a slate of recommendations to Governor Mike Braun. He'll select the new commissioners for 4-year terms. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media podcast network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
The Evansville Department of Metropolitan Development has hired a community planner to carry on the Blighted Property Revitalization Project started by Harvard University fellow Savali Tickle over the summer. Tickle, a Harvard Graduate School of Design student, spent 10 weeks in Evansville working with the DMD to develop a database for identifying and ranking blighted, vacant, and underused properties. Before she returned to Harvard, she presented her property findings to a group of city officials, nonprofit leaders, and developers.
While we were looking at the analysis, we realized that there are a lot of vacant land parcels which are right next to each other. So is there a possibility of collaboration, of amalgamation, of sort of neighborhood revitalization as a strategy where all of these land parcels could potentially come together, and the land parcels stakeholders were within the room?
In January, the city's new community planner, Wyatt Koenig, is expected to advance redevelopment conversations. Residents can continue to report unsafe, vacant, and abandoned properties to the city. Fort Wayne-based Indiana-Michigan Power is planning to invest $266 million to upgrade equipment across 5 counties. The Olive Reynolds 345 kilovolt transmission line rebuild project is designed to improve the operational performance of the electric grid by replacing aging infrastructure. I&M said the plan includes rebuilding about 68 miles of power lines between the Olive substation in New Carlisle and the Reynolds substation in the White County town of Reynolds. The lines run through St. Joseph, LaPorte, Stark, Pulaski, and White counties. Construction on the project is slated to begin in the winter of 2027 and be complete by spring 2031. Northwest Indiana Regional Development Authority CEO Sherry Ziller says the creation of a land development entity will help communities in the region generate more private investment. The nonprofit entity was created to work with local municipalities to assist with acquiring and stabilizing challenging properties to accelerate the timeline for redevelopment.
The one thing that a lot of our communities and others were saying is, you have to have a redevelopment plan. You can clean it up and that's fine, but what is the end use going to be? So we took that as, all right, when we're creating this program, make sure that it's comprehensive and we're not cleaning it up just to clean it up, but we want to make sure that we are working very, very closely with our communities on what that end use could be and, make sure it's doable.
Ziller says the next step is to identify, analyze, and prioritize the list of properties to be redeveloped. Citizens Energy Group CEO Jeffrey Harrison is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.
You know, the economy and the market are in a hairy place these days. It's up a lot, it's down a lot, it's sideways, and it seems on the hour there's breaking news coming out of all areas of the country. How do you get your head around that? How do you not go crazy in the process? I'm Peter Dunn. You may know me as Pete the Planner, IBJ columnist, and my job for years has been to help you understand your financial life better in context with everything else going on. So, what am I encouraging you to do? Well, listen to the Pete the Planner Show. Yeah, it's a podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts, or simply listen at ibjpodcasts.com.
Do you want to know what really drives change in Indiana? You won't find it in sound bites. You'll find it in stories. Stories from CEOs, lawyers, coaches, entrepreneurs, and community advocates. That's the IBJ Media Podcast Network. Insightful, local, impactful. Find all of our shows by searching IBJ Media in your podcast app or visit ibjpodcast.com.